So we went on and things were going well, and we started to settle into our newness. We started to settle into the new us. And from time to time, we would get some of this same resistance, some of this predictable resistance. I would get some of the older folks, and actually, interestingly enough, some of the newer folks, and they'd come up when we try to introduce something, they'd say things like this, see if you've heard it. We don't know exactly what you're trying to do here. Or they'd say to me, I'm not sure where I fit in. Or they would even ask this one. This was one of my favorites. We don't like the way you, and just fill in the blank. Because you see what happens in that resistance factor is it's always this finger pointing thing that goes on. We don't like what you're trying to do. What's he trying? Well, this new guy. And it's very real. The funny thing is that when you start having some successive victories, when you start seeing success along the way, an interesting thing happens. Is they say, what are you trying to do? They change their language to saying, look what we've done. You know, it goes from he to we. And as a pastor, you have to sit back and let your pride sit on the back burner and say, yeah, look what we've done. Or even more so, emphasize the fact, look what God's done here among us. And the reality is that anger and bargaining and depression, all of those psychological moods were part of this question of what are you trying to do here among us? And what has to happen in that situation is continue to communicate the vision, to empower the people, to help them realize just what a role that they do play in this situation. Help them to act on that vision. Help them to buy in. Help them to understand and be a part of what is new. At some point in time, you put the past behind you. At some point in time, you say, it was, and we're thankful for that because it's the foundation that got us where we are. But you start to empower a brand new vision. And that's exactly what we did. We created short-term wins. We had a vacation Bible school program that reached over 400 people that summer. Well, we blew the house out. I mean, it was fantastic. I was running every day to buy more candy or buy more treats, you know, for the food time, the refreshment time. It was the most amazing thing. And we kept on going on. And God blessed us in amazing ways. We had hired a music person to come in and help us get started with a contemporary music worship service. Interesting thing was, about 6 months into it, when some of that resistance raised its head, and when people asked me, they said, what are you trying to do to us? He sided with them. And there was an interesting head-button situation that went on. Gary, I appreciate what you had to say because you nailed it. Sometimes you have to make the right decision even though it's hard on your heart. And he needed to leave. He was there for a period. God used him mightily for a season. But it was time so that we could continue to move forward that he had to step aside and he had to leave. And he did.